Hello there, I'm Scotty, you're not. Finally time for me to talk about Series 14. Yeah, that's right. It ain't no Season 1, Disney. Series 14 of Doctor Who. Yeah, I refuse to call it Season 1 because it's not. It's not. People are like, well, technically it's like Season 40. No, you don't count anything before 2005. This has been one steady revival series from 2005. So it's series 1 was in 2005, this is series 14. Okay? Okay. Yeah. So I want to talk about like the overall stuff in it, and then I'll go episode by episode. I already talked in detail about episode 4, 73 yards, but I'll kind of go through it a little bit. But so after the 3 specials that came, the 3 what were they? It was the Star Beast, Wild Blue Yonder, and the Giggle. There was the Bi-Generation, and then we got the Church on Ruby Road. I did briefly discuss Church on Ruby Road when I discussed the 3 specials, the 4 specials, excuse me. But that introduced us to Ruby Sunday, which is the most TV character name I've ever heard, and the mystery of who her mother really is. I'll tell you who she is. A disappointment. We'll get to it. And why I have such beef with this decision. Because I know that Russell T Davies defended his decision, but I don't think he understands what his decision was actually meant. And I'll get to it when I get to it. But we have these characters. Shudagatwa is the Doctor. I think he's great. I always say that what makes a good doctor is when he finally says, I'm the Doctor, you believe it. And the first time, at the end of Church at Ruby Road, when she asks, who are you? And he goes, I'm the Doctor. I was like, yes, you are. And there's that defining moment when each of the Doctors really declare that I'm the Doctor, like in the 11th Hour, where Matt Smith had a whole thing where those aliens were looking through all of the past, and he pops through, he goes, hello, I'm the Doctor. And Tennant's moment, first moment when he pops on that ship, when you realize that the TARDIS's language, not dissector, I keep seeing dissector, was translator is working again. He comes out and has that moment and that sword fight with the Sycorax leader. And when the Sycorax leader tries to go against him, and he just throws the thing and knocks him down, no second chances. You tell them it is defended. It has that moment. And Capaldi's moment in Deep Breath, where he faces off against the dinosaur, that guy. He has that defining moment. So, that Clockwork guy, which, by the way, is taken by Misty, but we never see him again amongst the other dead. I don't know what the point of that was. We don't see any of the ones that... I don't know. But yeah. So he has that moment. What they did with him this season, instead of giving him one defining clothing, which I do think he does have one. He has this outfit that he has when he first picks up Ruby and when they're going traveling, right? And at the end, he's wearing the same clothes again. So I think that's maybe his regular thing, but he changes here and there, the various points. And so does Ruby. But the companion has always changed clothes. It's just the Doctor never has. Some variations in between seasons, whereas like David Tennant would wear like a brown suit at some point, and then the second half was like a blue suit, or maybe Smith, he had like a lighter kind of clothes, and then after the Pawns left, it was darker it was more serious, and Capaldi had like a regular suit in his first season, and then he done like a hoodie thing, and his hair got all and it would change to some variation, but they're all very kind of similar. His changed, Gatwa's changed, 14s I should say, changed in every, or 15, sorry, 15's, this doctor changed in every episode. I have a different thing, which is kind of refreshing, but also it kind of takes away from, look, it's got to have a signature look. You remember every doctor's signature look. You remember the fifth doctor's celery and the vest and the scarf the fourth doctor had and the hat and question mark vest that the seventh doctor had and that weird rainbow jacket the sixth doctor had, or even for as normal as like the first two doctors were, you still had the second doctor playing the flute or whatever it was, and then the third doctor had a cape, so they had their own signature kind of look. And even though I would say that Smith and Capaldi's, they evolved over time, Tennant's did too, and Tennant's had more of a bolder blue shirt when he was 14, but here the 14th doctor, he was 14 years old, you know what I mean, but here he changes in every episode, and it's refreshing, but also kind of, we need a signature look. The acting, though, he is really good at acting. What else he's really good at? Crying. But did you need to have him do it in every episode? Hell, the finale, he cried like 4 times in this episode. In that finale. Like, I get it. You have a guy that can cry on cue. You don't need to have him do it in every episode. It's kind of overdone. But he plays the role very well. Then you have Millie Gibson as, it would be Sunday. And she's also good. She's, she wants to find her mother. That's her big mission. But also, she just wants to go around and find planets with the doctor, right? She wants to explore with the doctor and everything. And, yes, she wants to find her mom, but that's not the immediate thing, right? Like, even in like one of the first episodes, the doctor said, we can't go back there because I can't go back within my own timeline, which is bullshit because he's done it before. Like, I watched one today. I think it's a 2-parter with where the Doctor and Clara, the 12th Doctor and Clara landed in this, where there was, it's the Bootstrap Paradox one, where he they're in the future, like 2119, and goes back to 1980, and then decides that even though she saw his ghost in the future, he has to save Claire, but the TARDIS just re-loops him back into his own timeline. So that's breaking the rule, although the TARDIS broke the rule, not him, but still. So he's done it before, but it is a no-no. I think even in like the finale thing, they say, you broke the rules before, right? Not now, because, I don't know, the rules you have to follow the rules when the script says so, I guess. And while we're at it, let's talk about the scripts. So, we know that Russell T Davies came back. He wrote a bunch of scripts. He brought back Stephen Moffat for episode 3, Boom, which is a good one. I thought perhaps the show would be less, I don't know. I know that Russell T Davies himself is gay, and that's fine. And that Ncuti Gatwa is in that sort of community too. But it feels like every episode has some sort of message, right? Like there's like every episode you're watching it and you're having fun with the doctor, but then here comes Keenen Ivory Wayans from Don't Be a Menace to Society while drinking your juke, but to South Central while drinking juice in the hood, just as the mailman popping up going, message, just in the background in every episode, because you have to, because for some reason you can't just do a TV show where they go through space. You have to have some sort of message in every episode, and that got kind of annoying. Like, do we have to do this? Like, I think maybe there's 1 or 2 episodes that don't really have a message, but they kind of do. It's just kind of there. Let's go through the episodes and kind of go through. So, first episode, Space Babies. Can you tell what the message is here? Yeah, see, the Space Babies, it was a colony that was making babies in space and sending them down to the colony, but they stopped. They decided they weren't going to do that anymore, but they didn't stop making the babies because abortion analogy. Yeah. And then there's this big villain called the Bogeyman. It's literally made of their bogies. And the only way to save them is to use a fart, their own shit, to boost them back to the planet. So the babies... And even though they've been there for what did they say, 15 years, they're still babies for some reason? I don't know. It wasn't a good start, I would say. But I did like the next episode, though, which was The Devil's Chord. That's the one with Jinx Monsoon. And there wasn't really a message. Like, the whole message, if you want to say, is that music makes the world go round, I guess. Because Maestro, I'm assuming she... I'm sorry if I'm not saying the right pronoun, but she, I'll say she. It said they in the episode, but when I looked up Jinx, she goes by she. So, she, her. Well, actually, I think they called her he. I don't know. But she gets rid of all the music. So when they travel, honestly, to the location I like to see, when the Beatles are recording the Abbey Road album, right? They're doing terrible songs because music doesn't exist. But, like, they try to reason why that they're still doing music, even though no one live music, they're still trying to make it, right? I don't know. But I do think that the Maestro is said to be part of this pantheon. And when she arrives out of the piano to confront the Doctor and Ruby later, you hear the giggle, ha 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 ha, showing her connection to the toy maker. The problem with this pantheon is that we don't get to see any other ones. The Trickster, I think, was on Sarah Jane Adventures, and there's one that looked like a snake. I asked in Doctor Who group if this has ever been shown before. No one fucking answered me. Thanks a lot, guys. But, because I don't think they did. But, we don't really see anymore. She's the only one, and then we meet this one who waits in the finale. So it's the end of the finale. So, yeah. Episode 3 is the one directed by... I'll go more into the plot stuff when I get to Species, but is Boom, the episode written by Stephen Moffat, and it's basically a bottle episode where the Doctor is stuck on a mine the entire time, and like they have to figure out how to disarm the mind. And the message in this episode is that technology will doom us. That's the message. Technology will doom us. We also need technology, because much like in the Doctor's Daughter, these people are fighting a war that they realized that the Doctor realizes that they're not fighting anyone. Much like in The Doctor's Daughter, where they were fighting this endless war, and it's only been, 7 months? 7 days? Something like that? Yeah, it's kind of like that. And also, Ruby dies in this episode, which is a point I want to make later, but, like, they kill her twice in this episode, technically 3 times, in this season, excuse me. Technically 3 times if you think about it, but, you know. Episode 4 is at 73 yards. I talked in depth about that, because it was the first one where I was like, I need to talk about this, because it hits. Russell T Davies wrote it, and it hit in a certain way that I needed to talk about it, because it feels like it's a standalone. So when they began filming, Ncuti Gatwa was still doing Sex Education, the show Sex Education. So there are 2 episodes where the Doctor and Ruby are barely... So this is the first Dr. Light episode of the new Doctor, and it just kind of comes out of nowhere. It's just the first one they filmed, and so he's there at the beginning and then at the end, but he's not without the rest. And again, like I said in my review of the episode, it makes no sense. There's no explanation where he went. He's just gone. It's not explained. I've tried to think maybe when she wasn't looking, he went to the woman and talked to her and then ran off without her knowing, but it doesn't happen like that. He just disappears, and there's no explanation. They did not do a good job of writing out the Doctor in that episode. In the next one, Dot and Bubble, I guess the message of 73 Yards is politics. In Dot and Bubble, though, the message is racism and technology again. Technology again. The whole thing is, these people, they live with their own technology, that when it's gone, when they have to try to do it without technology, they can't do it. So let's do it in the dumbest way possible by having this girl not be able to walk without her Dot and Bubble. Literally, she can't walk without it. She tries to walk, she bumps into a desk. At one point, she runs into a sign because she can't walk without it. That's going a little bit too far with the whole technology controls us angle. And then the whole bottom line is racism. Everyone is blonde, has blue eyes, and when the doctor tries to go in, he's the only black person there, so it comes up unauthorized. But Ruby's able to talk to him because she has blonde hair and blue eyes. At the end, the doctor tries to save them, and is completely frustrated by the fact that they won't. He says, "You are going to die. You will die, and I can save you." But they refuse because he's not like them. Yeah, a little over with the... Yeah. Episode 6 is Rogue, which I genuinely believe is one of the good ones. I think. Despite what other people may say, is a good one. I know there's people out there that are immediately going to wag their finger at this episode because of certain points, but we are introduced to the character of Rogue, played by Jonathan Groff, who is blatantly a replacement for Captain Jack Harkness. He's hunting these owl-like aliens called the Childer, and he thinks the Doctor is one. And what I like is we get a scene in here where we see all the Doctors, including Richard E. Grant's Schalke Doctor, which is a nice nod, but it makes no sense because Richard E. Grant on screen, not in cartoon form, that was an animated thing, on screen, live action, was the great intelligence. So it kind of doesn't make any sense to me, but nah. And it appears as if Ruby is taken by the Childers because they're shapeshifters, but she's not, and so Rogue sacrifices himself, and we're most likely made a bunch of homophobes freak out. Was two men kissing on a screen, and I've seen, this is not Doctor Who. This is not Doctor Who. Two men kissing, this is not Doctor Who. Do we forget that Captain Jack kissed Christopher Eccleston? I don't understand. People flipped out when Jodie was big. Oh no, Doctor Who's not a woman. I myself, I didn't hate it, but it just didn't feel like Doctor Who when she was the Doctor for some reason. It just, when you have all these are men, and then all of a sudden, not only that, but you also, it's spoilers for that, you have her, and then you have the future Doctor who's also a woman, which kind of negates the whole, hey look, first female regeneration. Psych! Because look, what the hell was that, right? Chibnall. But like, I am just sick of people freaking out about something that should be normal by now. Let gay people be gay people. They should not have criticism. In 2024, we should not be like that anymore. We should have moved past all that. I'm just saying. Like, the whole episode is sexual tension between those two, and it's great. And when I finally do it, I'm like, it's about time. It's just the whole episode teasing it. I wasn't getting mad. It was fine. It's fine. And then we get the two-parter. All right? Who is the one who waits? Who is Mrs. Flood, the neighbor of Ruby Sunday? Who is Ruby's mom? All and more will be disappointing. But, tell me who the villain is. So, something I haven't mentioned yet. All throughout this season, and in Wild Blue Yonder and the Church on Ruby Road, we have seen the actress Susan Twist have a cameo in each episode. It's in 73 Yards that Ruby first starts to notice, wait, have we met before? But of course, in that episode, everything is brought back before, so she doesn't remember that. But then in Dot and Bubble, they also both recognize her when she's mommy or whatever. So, yeah. And then she's a painting on the wall. I guess they couldn't figure out how to work her in as a live actor. She wasn't available to film. And so, who is this woman? Well, her name is Susan Triad, which everybody immediately goes, oh, that's an anagram of TARDIS, which Russell T Davies knew would be obvious. So everyone was looking at that anagram and not the bigger picture. Susan Triad Technology is her whole thing. Right? So the Doctor goes to Unit to get help from Kate. We get another science officer, where there was Osgood. There was 2 Osgoods, technically. Technically 3, if you count Bonnie, but yeah, technically 3. And then we had Shirley in the Star Beast, right? And then now we have Morris. I like Morris. He's funny. He's got a blaster on his little Segway. He's a little person. He's got a little Segway. He's got a blaster on it. And at the end of this, he's eating pizza. It's fun. He gets to celebrate. I like Morris. But yeah, they arrive. And they immediately, he's like, oh, we've seen this girl everywhere, this woman everywhere we go. Always middle-aged and looking. And their screenshots, they look like she's a Borg, or that she's like a Snow Queen, or whatever, an Ice Cream, whatever from Game of Thrones. They're throwing stuff in there. And it's like, that we haven't seen before. So, there is a time jump, right? So Space Babies takes place right after the church on Ruby Road. We see the whole thing with going in and going around, that whole thing. But then the next one, Devil's Cord, takes place months later because, and this was kind of a reference, when they're fighting Maestro, she says, well, Maestro doesn't win because I'm from 2024 and everything is fine then. So she can't win. So he takes her back to her time and everything is destroyed. But he says, where is it in 2024? June? Yeah? June. Really? That big of a time jump. 6 months in between episodes. Which means they've gone on plenty more adventures before that. So, you know. And yes, that is a reference to Pyramids of Mars. And we didn't know how close of a connection they would be. Because, as I mentioned, the anagram. So, we'll get to that. So now they're trying to find out who Ruby's mom is, too. So they got this video footage, a old VHS that Ruby had that they're going to put in this time thing, and they're going to look through it. So, Doctor says the memory changes because Ruby's had this thing throughout this series, the season. Ruby has had this thing where snow pops when you start talking, or shows up when you start talking about it, or hear Carol of the Bells and all of that, which is never explained. We'll get to that, but yeah. And then Doctor has a memory of now it's changed of Ruby's mother pointing at the Ruby Road sign. Oh, oops. Spoiler alert. Pointing with things at him or the TARDIS. Later it's confirmed it's the Ruby Road sign. I won't say why, but yeah. We're getting there. I need a drink. My throat's a little dry. So, while doing this, start to see that there's something connected to the TARDIS. Something latched on. A weird red light and a smoke or mist. We find out it's actually connected to this Susan Triad because Susan Triad Technologies, it's not TARDIS. And it's not Susan, his granddaughter, which they brought up in the they made a nod to the first Doctor in The Devil's Cord. But no, it's Sutekh. Sutekh was a one-off villain. Yes, a one-off villain making an appearance 40 years later. in the pyramids of Mars with the Fourth Doctor and Sarah Jane Smith. Where in the episode, this deity, in 1911, I think it was, tried to take over the world. And included a scene where Sarah Jane Smith said, well, 1980, where we're from, everything's fine, so he can't win. So the Fourth Doctor takes her and some random British dude to 1980 to see for themselves, and it's completely destroyed. That was a nod and a warning to the people, and it was Sutekh. And back then, it was some guy in a 70s style Egyptian mask. Here, it is full of CGI Egyptian dog, which I think looks better. I would have liked a more physical appearance. It is the same guy who voiced him. I don't remember the name, but it is the same guy, and it's done pretty well. This ending, I guess, again, you get Ncuti Gatwa crying, but this ending is a shocking ending that sets up the next episode. So Ruby is already down in the where they were looking at the videotape. She got shoved down there to be protected. So the Sutekh is attached to the TARDIS inside unit. And so Mel, and the Doctor have to get out of there, and we get a Tom Cruise Mummy scenario of all this dust going through a city. Here it's London, while the Doctor and Mel are on the motorcycle instead of Tom Cruise doing his power run like he has to do in all his frickin' movies nowadays. How can he run that fast from Mummy dust? I don't know. But yeah, I caught out. This feels like reference to the Mummy, and this is more like the Tom Cruise one and not the Brendan Fraser one because it's in a city. I don't know. Maybe not. Who knows? But everybody turns to dust, so everybody dies, except for the Doctor, Mel, and Ruby. And so we kind of, I don't know how long it's been, but we find him on another planet where he gets a spoon from a lady who can't remember that her own child is dead. I don't know why that scene's in there. I don't know. But he uses it to put together, we get a remembered TARDIS, which is full of items. I saw the 7th Doctor's vest with the question marks, the 6th Doctor's jacket, colorful jacket, in there. I don't know how much others I noticed in there. I think there was the little jukebox is for the 15th Doctor. I don't know. I guess I didn't look hard enough. There was certain things. I don't know. There's a lot in there, but and then Mel starts to hear Sutekh taking control over her. They go to the future to find what they need, the information about Ruby's mom, because apparently she's so goddamn special that even Sutekh is obsessed with it. He needs to know who she is. This will make no sense later, at all, but he needs to know who she is. So Mel is like a secret spy now, and eventually she turns on them. But Ruby, in defiance, smashes this thing, although she already kind of knows information, but anyway, smashes it. And, so how does the Doctor defeat the almighty Sutekh? He takes him for a walk. He attaches a leash to him and runs him through the time stream, causing it to reverse, and then he has to do what he claims to never do. I have to become a monster, he said, by killing Sutekh. Make a big deal out of something you've done before. How many Daleks, Cybermen, Sontarans has he killed? How many has he killed? Yes, I know that technically Cybermen aren't alive, but they were human consciousness inside, right? He's killed Daleks. He's killed Sontarans, Silurians. Well, technically that wasn't him, but still, he is killed before. This whole righteousness of I do not kill. Yes, you don't. On purpose. Maybe this is the first time he's doing it on purpose, but he's done it before. And yes, I'm counting the Metacrisis Doctor completely killing the Daleks off as him. It's him. It's the same thing. It's a version of the Doctor I count that. I mean, that one was morally gray, not like him, because he was mostly human, but still. So he's defeated, so now we got to solve the mystery of Ruby's grandmother. Or Ruby's mother, excuse me. I was thinking of Mrs. Flood. She's not Ruby's grandmother, I just got confused. Mrs. Flood, her mystery is not solved. That's the one thing that left hanging. Although, when everything happens before Sutek arrives, she goes, "He waits no more," as if we're supposed to believe that she's involved with this. But I don't know. And the end of everything, she's standing on the roof talking to us again, wearing some weird winter thing. Maybe she'll be involved in the Christmas episode that's coming. I don't know. But anyway, we find out who Ruby's mom is, and she's normal. She's a normal person, living a normal life. Nothing special at all. Nothing. Nada. Buckhiss. She's a normal person. Why was she doing the pointing? She was pointing at Ruby Road sign because she wanted her to be named Ruby. Bullshit. Now, Russell T Davies has defended this, saying he wanted to do like Star Wars did, where Rey was just no one. Her parents were no one. They just left her. The problem is that wasn't what they were supposed to be. That is something that Rian Johnson unrightfully did. All of the answers we got in The Last Jedi were not supposed to be those answers. Who is Snoke? Who cares? He's dead. Who is Rey's parents? They're no one. They're just... Rian Johnson did not think of this as a trilogy and just wanted a complete film with answers. Don't try to follow the director of one of the worst Star Wars movies ever made. I get the idea, I get the intention. But it was never supposed to be intended for her parents to be nobodies. It was never intended for her lineage to be Palpatine either, but people were disappointed by it's nobody, so J.J. Abrams had to pull that out of his ass. Only for her to call herself Skywalker. So here, it's a normal person. That explains nothing. Why is Ruby able to make it snow? Why does Carol of the Bells played? Why couldn't they see her face in the thing when they were looking? It was almost as if there was some sort of, what do you call it? When you, not a chameleon circuit, but like a, when you can look at something but not notice it's there. I can't remember what it's called. The Doctor, Martha, and Jack use it while spying on the Master. I don't remember what it was called. It was almost as if there was one of those in front of her face. We just can't see it. But no, she was just... But also, so why was Ruby able to make it snow? Why was Carol the Bells playing? Why was the mom wearing a robe when she dropped her off? I haven't answered this question. Why did she point at the sign? Because she wanted to name it Ruby? Because they realized we need a way for them to find her. To prove, that it's her mom. Because, if she went up to her mom and be like, for her mom to recognize her, I guess I should say. Because he went, oh, hey, it's me, Ruby. Ruby. So, to say, oh, she wanted her to be named Ruby all along, which is bullshit. I'm sorry. They already said that she was named because she was left at the church on Ruby Road. The nuns named her. Had nothing to do with her mother's wishes. Had nothing to do with that. It's something they come up with so that the mom could recognize her when they finally met. However, the explanation that Ruby gives, I was left on a church on Ruby Road 19 years ago, Christmas Eve, would have been enough. She didn't need that. The mom didn't need to say, I want her to be named Ruby for it to work. It would have been fine. It just doesn't work. I'm sorry. And yes, Russell T Davies did also say that the reason that he put all this mystery is so that people's minds would wander and wander as far away from the correct answer as it would be. Is it a former companion? Is it someone's other baby? Is it this? Is it that? I don't know. I just think he was too deceptive with this. It didn't work the way he wanted. I think it's to be more divisive than is accepted. Even with me, she's normal. I wanted it to be like Star Wars, the last Jedi, but it was never supposed to be like that. Rey was never supposed to be born to nobodies. And if she was, it wasn't supposed to be revealed then. Rian Johnson took it into his own hands to answer questions that weren't ready to be answered because this is the middle chapter. Right? I mean, the original 3 Star Wars movies weren't all planned out at once, but they had some cohesion. Even the prequels had some cohesion, but the sequels did not. And to try to follow that example just baffles me. So Ruby decides to stay. The Doctor is going off on an adventure, but we know Ruby's coming back for the next season, as well as another actress who was also in the episode Boom. So, but yeah, overall, I thought Series 14 was decent. It wasn't anything spectacular, but I thought it was a great return to form after the very kerfuffled Chibnall era. Okay? I'm even dreading going back through that era with my son when we get to it, but I have to. Just because it was so bleh, so frustrating with what Chibnall was doing. But anyway, there it is. So, what are your thoughts on Series 14 of Doctor Who? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I've been Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.